What's up, everyone? How's everyone doing today? Let's go on chit chat, nothing to do. Just wondering, I hope you guys got the notification. Here is the problem with StreamYard. What's up, the family? What's up? What's up? What's up, King? Cousin, Mom? How you doing? I'm having a special StreamYard this Saturday. I'm going to open banner for the vets, and I'm going to sing vet songs. Anyone could join if you're singing the vets. Go on, get a tribute of the vets. I had problems yesterday with StreamYard. Yeah, thank you. Hey Nancy, what's up? Today it's going to be open panel. People talk, I'm bored today. Damn, finally it works good. I had a lot of problems yesterday with StreamYard. It kept getting frozen. And yesterday. That's why I didn't use it, and I found out why. I had so much videos in my computer. I just killed all the videos, everything. It didn't get fun. Yeah, that's this Saturday at 7 a.m. Hmm? Yep, for the military, veterans, army, anybody still in the army. I do that. I do one for every holiday for the. I did one for Labor Day. I did one for the Memorial Day. What's up, Ado? Join me Saturday and next week. Tim Chamalanges, me and high school. We're going to close next Saturday. Not this Saturday, for next Saturday. That's going to be fun. Ah, oh, you have Twitter? I didn't know that, Nancy. I have Twitter. I got Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and my my MySpace. Hello, Marco Killian. What's up? I'm at 590 subs. I need 10 more to make my 600 mark. What's up, Manuel? Welcome, Manuel. How you doing, buddy? You know, Tats have StreamYard now, Tats. Yeah, I know you don't use it. It's because either it's go Go, Michael Keaton, go to your studios, look, click on subs, and if it's a blue one, click back on and restart it again because it's YouTube doing this. Because either the account is that account isn't good, or that don't use that account for 30 days. Yeah, because you need to go back studio and click back who you to unsubs. That's how you do it. Yeah, mine goes up and down too. It's it's nothing got to you, nothing because either it could be people doesn't like you, lives or contact is on them, or it could be suck accounts. You know. Remember, a lot of people have fake accounts in YouTube, and they suck to the people. You know. Remember, Michael Jordan, people like drama. 80% of YouTube people like drama. That's the sub. Hey, Tats, do you want the link? Yeah. Go check on it and go on the studio. And if it's like a blue, click on that. You know. Okay. Let me let me email to you. Okay. Oh shoot. Yeah. Okay, Tats, check your email. Good morning, Sato. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I don't know what topics I'm going to discuss. Maybe Tats will have some topics. Oh, you know what was? Just remember, it's oh man, man, Tats did a pretty good stream today, Tats. I think it's not oh, okay.
I'm just a
What's
little.
up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. What's up with you?
Oh, just all systems go today.
Nothing
Just
much.
yeah,
I
me
was
neither.
going to discuss UFO, but I don't know nothing about UFOs. That's why that's why I delete that topic. I don't know nothing about UFO.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know a little bit about them, but I mean, nobody really knows much. I mean, except for those who I believe that work around them. But but other than that,
Anyway,
I
side.
just know I just know what I see on the news and what I see on TV, just like almost anybody else. So, I mean, I'm not a UFO aficionado, But I do believe they exist, and I believe that they are not from here.
Mm,
And I think to believe otherwise, that there's nobody else living out in the stars, with all the stars and solar systems out there. I think it would be a foolhardy thing to think that we're the only thing that lives out there, out here.
you know one topic got hit right down? Talking
What's that?
about slaves. I was on
Working
earlier
on your
today,
what?
slave. Earlier today, I was on Elon. Elon was live, and someone was saying the slaves started in the United States. I told them no, it didn't start in the United States. It
Are you
started in
talking? You
Africa.
Oh, right, slavery. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yes. And everybody
that
said
would
no, it started
be
in the United States. I said no. It started in Africa. It came here.
right. Right, it did. Well, there was slavery going on here in the United States amongst a lot of the Native American tribes as well. Just so you know, there
Yeah,
were
but I'm talking like when it started in the
right, right,
beginning.
right. I mean, slavery has been around since I believe the existence of humans. I mean, it's
Yeah,
been around. It's been around forever. I mean, just depends on where you're talking and how what time period you're talking. But yeah, it's been around and it still exists
blah
today. I
blah
mean,
blah.
there's still slavery going on today.
Oh yes,
So I mean, it's a shame, and it should have never happened
even
ever.
parents make the kids slavery too. People doesn't realize that.
Right. I mean, basically, what it boils down to is the powerful took advantage of the not so powerful, is what happened. And that's kind of how it worked. A lot of times, but in certain societies, it seemed very accepted. I mean, kings and rich people from different places had what they called servants, but I would call them slaves. I mean, that would be another
Mm-hmm.
word for it. And I believe that's been the case for a very long time, and it's just a shame.
Servants that called back in the early century. I think they started calling slaves. I think back in the 1900s. I think I'm not sure.
Right.
Tats. It
No,
started calling slaves early
well, I think,
1900s.
well, no, because if you're familiar, I mean, I know you're a religious guy, and if you read the Bible talks about slavery. It goes back, even before that, before the Bible was written, slavery
Yeah,
was going on.
BC 1400 something like that.
Oh yeah, way back.
Yeah, I was googling it.
I'm no ancient historian, but that's kind of my understanding of it all. I mean, I did do some touring over in Egypt and things like that, and they talked about that when I was over there. At the time that I was there, they still believe that a lot of slaves built the pyramids, and that still could be very well true. I don't think that people know for sure 100% who exactly
Oh
did
yes,
the
I know. Yes,
physical
yeah,
labor.
exactly.
You know, um, I'm not convinced that there were a bunch of people that were just laborers that were getting paid well to build
Because
those
my
things. I,
history
I don't
teacher
know.
told me, my history told me, we don't know where it started at.
Right.
They said, but it could start at any place. You
Right.
know?
Yeah. I mean, there's a history of the human civilization, or the human history that is was never written, and was or
Mhm.
maybe it was written, but those things were lost in time. So there's a big chunk of history that we don't know about. I mean, the reality of what happened in those ancient times are only through the eyes and the writings of people who recorded that history. But other than that, I'm sure there's tons of history, probably some really interesting things that happened that yeah, well, that's what I said, Michael. Slavery was in the Bible, and it goes back even before that. I would say, before the Bible was written. Um, but I saw a lot of interesting things when I was over in Egypt and Israel and places like that, and I got to see a lot of the ancient things, ruins of different places. Capernaum was a place that I visited in Israel, was really interesting. Um, Masada, and I got to go to the pyramids, and I went inside of two of the Great Pyramids when I was there. I got to go to the Valley of the Kings and go inside of uh, King Tut's tomb and see that. The pyramids, I was a little disappointed in the pyramids because growing up as a kid, I always believed that there were all kinds of hieroglyphics and fancy writings on the walls and in the pyramids, and in general, when you first go into the main entry of the pyramids, there really isn't much to look at. It's just all gray, drab walls. There's graffiti that's pretty interesting that goes all the way back to, uh, you know, centuries of graffiti in there, which is kind of a shame.
Mm-hmm.
But some of it's even modern graffiti, but for some reason they keep it there. And the other thing that I noticed in the
Mm-hmm.
pyramids was it smelled like pee inside of there, urine. It smelled like people were peeing inside the pyramids. So that was kind of a bad thing that you never really hear about. But it was interesting to see those things, and with slavery being what you were talking about, I personally believe I don't believe the well off or the people in charge were out there laboring, laying those giant um those things, you know what I mean? Oh, no, I believe slavery is
Oh
wrong
yeah.
no matter who did it, or any
Hey,
time.
John, we are talking about slavery.
Yeah, yeah, I believe slavery is wrong no matter who did it and when they did it. I don't care. I mean, people should not own other people. That's ridiculous.
Everybody, like people get trafficking. They pick
Yeah.
up girls, and people didn't, and it's still slavery. It's slavery.
Mm,
People doesn't even know when when they buy girls, it's slave. It's slavery.
yeah.
People people say they don't even realize that it's still slavery. It doesn't what color you are. It doesn't what color you are anymore.
Well,
Slavery
there's
could be.
been slaves. There's slaves of all racial backgrounds throughout
Oh
history.
yes,
It's just prominent that we talk about what happened to the African population that came over here as slaves, because it's in our history, more of the prominent side of it in our country. But as far as world history is concerned,
they even
it's
have
been going
white
around.
people
It's been
with
going
white
around forever.
slaves. Then
Right, right. But there's,
they never
like I
talk
said,
about it. Never talk
all
about it.
races all
Hmm.
races from across history, um they've had slaves, and some of them
They
tried
never
to
talk
add.
about it in history.
Right, right. I mean, it just depends on who you're talking to and what period you're talking about, and but I believe it's been going on since the very beginning of human civilization. I believe, because the strong always take advantage of the weak. The people that have the technological advances, the people that are more advanced than the other civilization, usually tend to take them over and
Hmm.
enslave them and make them do what they're supposed. Well, yeah, there were Native American slaves, absolutely. I mean,
Oh yes.
I delve into this Native American history pretty deep at one point in my life. I was very interested in it, and I learned about some horrific things that you never hear in regular history classes or in
Oh yeah.
colleges
I
or
know.
anything
I know.
like that.
Yep.
You never hear about those things. But if you pick up a book or about that was written by some of the tribe members throughout history, especially the tribe that I was more interested in was the Cherokee.
You know why they
Um,
don't teach that in in school? You know why? Because the the people who the school district doesn't want them to speak about it.
yeah, I
That's why
mean,
it is.
history is such a large topic. I mean, that you can go and talk about history was yesterday, right? I mean,
Hmm.
history is anything that happened in the past.
Hmm.
5 minutes ago was history.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
yes. Exactly.
so
100%.
so history is a broad topic, but they don't hit on a lot of the important things. Like,
I
I
know.
mean, they some do talk about Native American history and all those things, but it's told in a certain light that kind of romanticizes
They're
the
twisted.
yeah, they make it sound a lot
Yes.
less than it actually was. I even heard an older guy at one time, who I actually went to church with. looked straight at me, straight in the eye, and goes in his redneck voice, and he goes, "Ah, now I don't think slavery was all that bad." I was like, "Are you?" Are I looked at him like he had three heads. I mean, are you? What are you talking about? Slavery is one of the worst things of the human condition.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I mean, what the heck is he talking? Well, they ate well and they worked out and they had jobs and everything. Are you out of your mind, sir? Like what? What are you talking about? Like, there's no way slavery in any form should be accepted in any level, or any degree of slavery should not be accepted. But it's just a fact of what we, as a terrible uh, society, adopted at many points, and even currently there's slavery going on, and it's terrible, and I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, I'm glad that I was never a slave, and glad that I'm not a slave now. I feel very fortunate, the way I was born and where I was born, and the things that I got to do and see. But there are people out there that were born into it and they don't know anything about it. They don't know
Look
anything
at
about freedom.
parents keep the kids in the house. That's slave.
There's a story I'll share with you about that kind of thing. There was a
Yeah,
gentleman.
it is worse than ever now. Yes, how hate did you know about that? Yep, it's worse than ever now.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
You're right. And there is a kind of a psychological relation to what I'm about to say, but I actually saw a documentary once about a gentleman who escaped from a prisoner camp over in North Korea, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the crazy thing is this guy was actually born in that prison camp, so he never knew any other life other than the hardships that he knew in the camp that
I
he was
never
born in.
had that. Uh-huh.
And I believe there are people out there like that don't know any other life. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, even back in our history with the slaves and stuff, those kids that were born into that, they didn't know any different. That was life to them. That was how life was, and people treated them cruelly, and that's what their life was. That was their normal, you know. And for this guy, that you hear the stories that he tells about being captured. His Basically what happens or happened
Oh,
at one time in North Korea
thank
is
you, the
three.
ladies, for joining. Thank you for coming on my chat. Thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a
Uh,
great
Where's
this is
that?
a
Can you
great
talk your link, please?
channel.
Yeah, thank you, lady. Thank you for dropping by. Thank you. Go on, Tess.
But I just think that there are people in captivity now
Mm-hmm.
that really did nothing wrong. They were innocent of anything, but in certain societies, like I was just talking about North Korea, they'll punish three generations of your family for just
Mm-hmm.
speaking out about the government.
Oh yes.
And
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I believe that's a form of slavery because they work in labor camps and they do
Mm-hmm.
things that work on farms, do mining work and things like that. And their life isn't worth anything. They'll kill them as soon as look at them. And there were stories this gentleman was talking about. The reason why he escaped is because he heard from another prisoner about roasted meat, and he never tasted roasted meat. It's really weird, but he always wanted to taste meat that was cooked over a fire, and he never had that. He only ate boiled meat growing up in that prison camp. So that, for some reason, he wanted to know about the outside world beyond the gates of that prison. So,
Mm-hmm.
and for some reason, that roasted meat was enough to get him to to do that escape, and he was successful doing it. It was a terrible story, though. I mean, if you don't have uh, if you can't handle terrible, and I mean grotesque stories, I would not advise listening to this man's story, but it is definitely an important story to tell about what's going on in the modern
Mm-hmm.
society. now, and it is a form of slavery, in my opinion. When you're a political prisoner
Mhm.
like that, I think you're a slave. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I don't think. You know, um, do you have any history in your family with slavery? Do you know of Gregory?
No, nobody.
None that you
Nobody.
know. Well, your family came
No.
over here later in like in the 40s, right, or in the 50s in the United States to the United States,
My mom came in 1950. Yes.
1950s or 40s,
Yes.
50s.
My
Okay.
mom came 1950.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
50. Yeah.
Yeah.
She born 1933.
I mean, I'll tell you, it's absolutely true. My family, on a certain side of my family, owned slaves, and it's documented in our family history. We actually have a book written about the whole thing, and we have
Oh,
somebody
wow. I didn't
that,
know that.
oh yeah, we did. He
Damn.
was the gentleman that, or no, would not want to call him a gentleman, but the guy who owned these slaves was described as owning a army of slaves. So he had a lot of slaves, and he ran a tannery for the Confederacy. So he made leather products and things like that for the Confederacy during the Civil War. And he was born of Welsh descent, but he was a brutal guy. But there's a strange story where he was actually attacked by a rival plantation, the owner of a rival plantation, and one of his slaves actually came to his aid and saved his life, which is a strange dynamic. I think the slave saved his life and still remained a slave. Which is it boggles my mind how that works. It's a crazy thing. But
Hmm.
yeah, I sadly I do have that history in my family, and I'm not proud of it, but it is a part of my family's history, you know and I acknowledge that.
Thank
I
you,
know I
Kimberly.
know I know that it happened, and I'm not proud of it, but I don't mind talking about it because I think it's a story that people should hear about the way it was described. And this guy was very wealthy, and he was always drunk all the time, is the way they described him, very loud and drunk. um and well, even back in those days, only white property owners could vote in I can't remember exactly when that time period was, but there were only property owners that were actually allowed to vote in the United
Mhm.
States at one point. Now, I'm not sure if that's pre-Constitution or after Constitution was written, but I'll even admit the Constitution was not written initially to include people other than white people. They wouldn't have written the Constitution with that in mind. um, and that's a terrible way to think, but that's exactly the way those people in that time thought. I don't think they considered Native Americans or African Americans a part of that. I just don't think they did at that time. But thank God, with better, cooler heads and smarter, educated people, made sure that the Constitution did apply to everybody, which
Mhm.
is what it should have applied for in the very beginning, since our founding of our country. But I don't think the founders had that in there because many of those were slave owners. They own slaves themselves, and how can you say that all men are created equal when you own slaves? I mean, that boggles my mind, you know. So, you know, yeah, I believe that, Keebler. I do. I believe that 100%. It was written on universal laws, five truths based on religion. You're absolutely right about that. And but I also believe that these men who, oh, not all men own slaves. No, I agree with that. There were some people that never owned slaves, but there are some of those people that signed the document that's known as the Constitution that did own slaves. I mean, it's documented,
Hmm.
and it's a part of the. You should acknowledge that, I think. Um, that's all. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying that occurred, because it did. You
Ted,
know.
I've got to ask you, who have who have more slave? Um, the black people or the Chinese?
That's a good question, Greg. I don't know. I would imagine, given the history of China and all of that stuff, I don't know. The population has always been a large population.
Because I heard
Maybe,
it's Chinese, I heard the black people heard 50-50, you know?
yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a history scholar or anything like that. And even the things that I just said, I can't say that's 100% true, but I that's what I believe to be true until I find out otherwise. I mean, I'm not like I said, I'm not a history major or anything like that. I just say what I believe, I think is true on that, but I can't say that
Can anyone in
100%.
the chat to find out? Google it.
I mean, I'm just not up on all of that stuff, but let me look something up real quick. I'll tell you something real quick if I find out. Um,
Yeah, because I want to know because Chinese is slave too, you know?
okay, here you go. James Madison owned slaves. I just Googled this. James Madison owned slaves. Thomas Jefferson owned slaves. James Madison was a very prominent writer of the Constitution. George Washington also owned slaves. Benjamin Franklin owned slaves as well.
George Washington? I didn't know that. I know
Yeah,
Japanese did
so
that. I didn't know that. Wow.
that's according to a website called the American Battle Trust. So you can actually
Oh,
look
I
that
heard
up
the
yourself.
website. That's a pretty good website.
And also the Smithsonian Magazine I'm looking at right now, and yeah, they did own slaves. So that's what it
But it,
says anyway.
but it's but it doesn't say who have the most slaves then, the Chinese or
Well,
the black.
I can Google that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
to
Let me
me
see.
is
I
the
mean, I
Chinese.
can't say that Google's always going to be right, but I'll
I
just
know
tell you
that,
what
I
it
know.
says.
That's my
Um,
opinion. You know, I could be wrong.
the question I asked actually is, oh, that's a dubious honor. This terrible honor this guy has here. I actually, um,
How do you?
the person who owned the most slaves in the United States. I can tell you that right now. His name was Joshua John Ward from Georgetown County, South Carolina.
Hi,
He
Jay.
owned
Oh, I
he
didn't
owned
know that.
he
Damn.
owned more he owned more slaves than anyone else. It looks like he owned 1,092 slaves during his,
Damn.
yeah, and he ran a rice plantation. It looks like so. So, but let me see what let me write like what country. How about that? Um, let's see. So, um, it looks like they're mentioning Europe more than anything, and also Portugal apparently.
Oh, okay.
Um, but I don't see. Let's see. North Africans they're talking about here. I don't see any mention of China whatsoever.
Okay.
But let me see. Let me just ask the question about China, right? Did China
Yeah, I know that, I know.
slavery in China? Here we go. Here's a good little article about it. So, um, this is actually talking about recent history in China, but let's see. They say that they said peasants and criminals were used as slave labor in the Qin dynasty and the Tang dynasty. Um, and let's see, let me see what we got. And some people that were enslaved in the Chinese, of course, they ran away from there, but they were captured by what they called bondsmen, just like we have nowadays, I guess, that would go out and bring the slaves back to their owners. But the slavery in China dates all the way back to 475 BC.
Damn, that
Um,
whoa, that's way back.
right. Actually, it even goes farther than that. It looks like. Um, let's see. Actually, it says that started at a decline in the 475 BC. So that's good news. Each king or duke in China during 206 BC, between 206 BC and 220
Hmm.
AD, each duke or king was allowed a maximum of 200 slaves, and each prince was allowed 100 slaves, and other officials were limited to 30 slaves each, is what they say.
I know what's best.
But it looks like most of the slave population in China were other Chinese. They weren't of other nationalities. It looks like
Ah, okay.
it does mention some slaves may have come from places like Korea and whatnot, but for the most part, I guess they're saying that slavery um, was mostly Chinese owning other Chinese folks. It does say that there were 300 black slaves uh, given to the Ming Dynasty, which was one of the leaders of China at the time, the Ming Dynasty. And, ooh, that's not good. And they said that
Hey, Big Mac.
they castrated them when they were slaves. So that's not a good deal. Interesting though. I mean, it's a long article. I don't want to read a whole thing, but it looks like for the most part they did have some African slaves, but it looks like the majority of them were other Chinese, is what it looks
Mm.
like to me. Um, so you know, interesting stuff. It's a shame. Yeah, ancient Babylonians. All of that. It goes back. It goes back from the first person that looked at the other guy and said, "Look, I'm stronger than you. I got more power than you, and I'm gonna make you my slave." What I believe. That's what I believe. It's been going on since time, human since human
That
history. I
even
think.
sold slaves for money.
Yeah,
That's fucked up. That's screwed up. You know?
yeah. I think it goes back. I mean, as far as you can think. I mean, as far as history goes, as far as human history goes, I think it continues and it continues today. Unfortunately,
Hmm.
I mean, there's some
But
places that are just
we're not talking much
ridiculous.
more about slavery this time at all. We're talking about crimes mostly, you know? No one doesn't even
Mhm.
know slavery still exists more and more. You know?
But I think, and it sounds cruel the way I'm going to describe it, but it seems to me like back in those days, they looked at it more as more of a business venture. It sounds bad, but that's kind of how I think they
Yeah,
looked at it back then. They looked at it as, look, we have things that shit needs to get done. We don't want to pay for the
exactly.
shit to
Hmm.
get done. and so we're just going to go and take advantage of people that don't
Yep.
have the means to defend themselves. So, in other words, I think that the technological advances. But let me ask you a question. This is an interesting question that somebody asked me one time. Do you think that the African nations, let's say Africa was all united as one country during those time periods when slavery was most prominent, right? And let's just say that Africa was more advanced than Europe
Hmm.
during the times that the slaves were being sold and everything like that at those times. Do you think that Africa would have gone out and collected slaves from other places as well? Or do you think that they wouldn't have? I think that they would have. I think that it was a matter of being who's the more powerful ones of the time. I think that's what would have happened. Somebody can disagree with that. I think that would have happened. It would have been the opposite. The Europeans would have been enslaved and so on. Uh,
Here I agree with you. It's the same today, big business. But no one's not talking about slavery these days. Talking about crimes, you know?
right, right.
Yeah, talking
But I
about
think
the
it's
stuff, you know?
yeah, I think it's an interesting thing. And there's but like I said, I don't believe slavery was ever good, and it will never be good. And it's ridiculous that other people own each other or own somebody else. It's ridiculous.
Hmm.
That's so far from the way I think. I can't even imagine that. It's terrible. I mean, no, well, Manny, I mean, I read. I read some things, here and there. I'm not a huge reader, but I do read every once in a while some things. And I have a great book about the American Revolution and things like that. I like that book a lot. And it talks about the founding of our country, and it seems very
I don't like the word slavery. Never
you don't like.
do, never will. That
Yeah,
that
yeah,
gives me an upset stomach. I hate that. You know, guys,
right.
don't let me get it one way. I don't like the word slavery.
I
Never
mean, the
will.
Roman Empire, the
You
Roman
know.
Empire was notorious for that. They enslaved a lot of people. But also the Huns, they enslaved a lot of people. I mean, whoever was the world power at the time, depending on the location and when it was going on, that's usually the ones who had the most slaves. Honestly, I think whoever was the most technologically advanced. But it's really strange to me when I think about that. There's an actual group of people called the Sentinelese. Are you familiar with them, Gregory?
Never heard of them before.
The Sentinelese live on a island near India, and it is an isolated place. These people are considered to be an uncontacted tribe, even though they have been contacted by the outside world. But according to what I've read, they haven't even invented fire yet. Um,
Oh wow.
they haven't even invented fire yet, and they're very primitive. I'm sure they get things from the ocean because they live on an island. North Sentinel Island is the name of the island they live on. And they were talked about a lot during the big tsunamis that happened in Thailand and in that region a few, maybe about a decade ago. And the Sentinelese are a very interesting topic. Also, if anybody goes to try to visit them, they will kill you as soon as they see you. They will kill you, and they don't care. You will. There was recently,
Hi
or
Sean.
pretty
Hi
recent,
Abe.
there was a missionary that went over there trying to be a missionary, doing what missionaries do, and as soon as he stepped foot on their beach, they killed him. So
Wow.
yeah, but they're called the Sentinelese, and a very interesting group because they still live like people did back in the Stone Age. I mean, you know, so to me, they're a very interesting group of people, and they are of African descent. It looks like. and but the region they live in is near India, so it's kind of a strange situation there.
Uh,
But yeah, that's. But I wonder how those folks did not get caught up in all of that, in all of the slavery thing, and how they didn't get decimated like so many other groups did.
true.
I wonder how they survived all that, and now they still maintain the lifestyle that they've been doing for thousands and thousands of years. And apparently nobody speaks their language either, so nobody can communicate with them verbally. They Nobody knows how to speak their language because they haven't allowed anybody on their island for anybody to learn their language. So they have their own language. Nobody knows how to speak it. So it's a pretty interesting group of folks there,
You
and
know,
they just.
couple of days ago, Nightmare had a panel. I don't know if he was there or not. He talked about YouTube cult.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
What's
That
that?
was.
I never heard them before.
Well, it was kind of a play on words. They think that the people that support uh Fraud Wrangler were kind of worshiping him
Oh, okay, 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 okay,
as if he could do no wrong or anything like
okay,
that. And so that's what they were calling. But other than
okay.
that, yeah, I don't believe he's a real cult leader. I would never put that on somebody unless they were, you know. Um,
No, because I thought he was talking about you. What about YouTube? It was a cult. Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I would say that there are some tribal type ideals that go along in social media. Certain groups support certain other groups that almost without any thought of whether or not they're doing something wrong or not. They're kind of a tribalistic factions in
Okay.
YouTube world, you know, and that's just the nature of the beast, you know. Um, I mean, there's uh, I honestly I don't understand a lot of it. I really don't. I'm kind of a
Okay.
naive. I'm kind of naive that way in a way. I
Okay,
don't
Chad,
understand.
any topics you want to discuss? Chad,
Yeah. Anybody? Yeah. Anybody got some
any
topics?
topics? An open panel. Any topics?
Yeah. Come on up, guys. I'm tired of talking. My voice is starting to go a little bit.
Any?
You know, I kind of talk about everything and anything a lot of times, but
Yeah,
we,
because your voice hurts because it was live for freaking almost
I, I
four
did
hours.
4 hours today already.
And
Yeah.
that's why. Because you're gonna get used to being on the panel for
No, I'm
4 hours
not.
too.
No, I'm not. But I did have an interesting discussion with a guy who believes that he has the power to possess other people. And
Oh
I
my
took,
god.
yeah, he believes he actually has the power to possess other people. I'm not
I don't
sure.
believe in that. I don't
Well,
believe that. I don't.
that's what he says he can do. And I made a little my video, the one that I just made tonight is the video where he says all that. So I figured that anybody that is worth their weight in salt, that's a YouTube creator, if you have somebody on your channel that claims that, I think that that's a definite video that you want to put on your channel. um, I just think it's an interesting thing that somebody believes that they can do that. Um, you know, he's not the only person in history to ever believe that. I mean, I'm not saying that he is.
Too bad I
Uh,
wasn't there. I
I'm
would
not
tell him.
sure. I'm not
I would
sure
tell
that
him. Do what I
I
mean.
mean,
You know.
he could be mentally ill, but then again, it could just be something that he believes uh, without being mentally ill. I
Or
mean,
he
I
can
don't
make it
know.
up too.
Right. But he says he's done it 5 times. He says he's
Then prove
actually
it.
possessed. Well, I asked him, I tried to ask him, well, how do you do that? Can you tell me how you do it? And he goes, well, it's not something I can teach.
Oh yeah.
And
Well, then he's lying.
well, I mean,
Then prove it on your life. If you have a channel, then prove it on your life. You know. Don't talk crap if you can back
well,
it up. You know.
that's what he says he can do. So I'll leave it up to those people that my watch that video, and See what you think. It's a very short video. The actual content is only about a minute and 30 seconds of that conversation. I mean, that conversation was actually a very strange one we had all the way through that, but he was talking a lot of that sovereign citizen type stuff, but I really wanted just to highlight that part of the conversation where he was talking about being able to possess people, because that honestly, I've never run into anybody to ever say that to
That's
me, and I
why.
was.
That's why I don't like those kind of people.
Yeah, it was
When
it
you
was
have
strange.
this, when you could do it, get the backup. If you don't get the backup, just keep in mind. So don't be like pretend if you know the stuff.
Yeah,
If you
Sean,
don't back
I
it up, a lot of people will get freaking angry and they won't believe you. Just tell and show it. Proof, backup.
yeah, Sean, I know about that. I saw a documentary on it. It must have been a recent one, I think, that I saw. I can't remember where exactly I saw that, but yeah, I saw about this Rockefeller
If
kid. But hold on, I need to take a break for a second, but I'll be right back.
that's why hate. That's why when people say, "Oh, I got things," and I'll do this, I'll do that, and I tell them, "What's the backup? What's the proof?" And they don't even want to show. Always like if you don't want anybody knows, then keep a mouth shut. Don't make you don't make yourself look at an ass, pardon my language. I used to do that, you know. So proof. That's that's got to piss me off. That's me. You guys missed last night at Bernie's. Um, me, Lawless, um, and Mexican long hair was doing a karaoke, and Lois sing. Lois sing, and Lois was not that bad of a singer. Yeah, he sing pretty good. I know probably want stuff for sure. Yeah,
I'm
Lois,
back.
you missed that. Couple days ago, I was in a Wobbling Hippie live, and me and him was singing North Carolina.
Hmm. Yeah, I will say this though. I would love if there's people that have an interest in things that are of the mysterious and things like that. I would love to do a panel on that type of a topic. If people are interested in that, I've always been interested in things like that. Why people believe certain things and so on. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, I might do a couple panels on that with people that believe in certain things, such as that guy who believed that he could actually possess another person.
Next
I
time you tell the guy see proof.
I asked him. He just
I
said
will be
that.
there next time. I'm gonna tell him.
Sure.
I'm gonna tell him. Show the proof. If you don't, then keep a mouth shut.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. It could. What do you think, Lawless? Do you think that was a manifestation of a mental illness, or do you think that is just his belief system? That's the part that I
It's
wasn't
not.
real sure.
It's not. It's not mental or not believe. He just want to be himself. That's what I'm thinking. He's
Yeah, I
lying.
mean, well, I mean, that very well could be. It seemed like he actually believed it, though. To me, he believed it, at least in my.
Anyone could believe it to get subs in a channel. You know,
Right, of course, but he doesn't even have. I don't believe he has his own channel. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, I could be mistaken, but I don't believe he has a channel, right? I mean, what was his name, Lawless? I can't remember now. Wasn't that Press Harder? Is that him? Was that him? I'm not real familiar with Press Harder, but I think that was his channel name, right? I can't remember.
too
I
bad
know
I
that
missed that earlier today.
he
Tats.
called himself People, is what he called himself.
What?
But the People, yeah, that he there were some things that he said I wasn't real clear on. I'm not up on my sovereign citizen stuff.
Did
You
he
know what I
see?
mean?
Did he still have the live?
I do. I have to look at it, but it's not. He doesn't go under the He doesn't go under his channel's name on my live. And oh yeah, actually, I probably could. Yeah, let me see some. I got it saved in
Then
private
maybe
because
he's lying.
well, with my lives, and this is what I'm planning on doing. I don't know if I'm going to stay with this idea. But what I'm planning on doing is when I have a live, I just make it private afterwards because what I believe sometimes is, it's a conversation that we had at the time, but
No, because
I don't.
I want proof. You know,
Right, right.
I hate when people talking out of their ass. You know, prove it.
I don't think anybody's gonna sit through a 4 hour live that I did. You know what I mean? So I kind of made it
No,
private. I'm
no,
gonna
I
still
mean,
have it.
I could fast forward it of the part to see if this guy's crazy or not.
Oh, is that what you think, Los? It was mainly his belief. You don't think he
Yes.
had?
No, I don't think that either. No, no, he's lying.
Okay.
I can't say that because I didn't see the live, but what he's saying of your
Oh,
words,
Press
he's
Now.
lying.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's his name. Press Now. That's it. Yeah. Thanks, Big
First
Mike.
now,
Yeah, Press Now is his
never
name.
heard of him.
Yeah. No, it is public, Keebler. It is public at the time that I'm doing it. But I
Yes,
don't it's public at the time that I'm doing it, but
no,
after I'm done
no,
with
I
it,
disagree with you. No,
then I make it private is all I'm saying. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with my privacy or anything. It's out of respect for people that participated in it because I believe sometimes people say things that they may not be in the heat of the moment and things like that. I think people say things that they
hey,
aren't
Tess, can
exactly
you drop
proud of.
his name on the private chat?
Who? Press Now?
Yeah,
Well, I just told you, Press Now.
okay. I want to fund him
Yeah, Press
on
Now is his
YouTube.
name. Yeah, I agree with you, STC. He was more nuttier than squirrel shit. I mean, that's
Yeah,
what
that's
I
I believe
think.
it's yep.
I think he had has he?
Maybe
No, not Press Harder, Keebler. Press Now is his channel. Press Now.
Chris
I
now.
misspoke. I misspoke, and the only one I'm familiar with really is Press Harder, but I'm vaguely familiar with him, but not really. But his name is Press Now, is what his
Let me
channel.
find out what now. Let me
The one
see.
that I'm talking about is Press
Chris
Now.
now. It's PLESS.
Yes, Press Now.
Okay, P R
He's
E
got a
S.
a delicious beard. If you see a guy with a delicious beard, that's him. Well, Lawless, he called himself. Yeah. In the live is what I meant, Keebler. I meant that he called himself that under his name, where you can put your name like you can see our icons up. He put there his name. His name was the People or People, I think is what he said. But his channel is Press Now.
They have Press NH now, but it's not
No,
him.
not Press New Hampshire now.
No,
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 it's
no,
just
no, no,
Press.
no, no build. Okay.
Wait, some people are saying he's possessing you right now, STC. Well, he's not an auditor. He even said that during the live that we did. He's not an auditor. He doesn't have. I don't believe he has videos. I didn't really look. Um, but no, I don't know. I'm not real familiar with the guy. He makes comments in my videos every so often, and that's all. I mean, that's all he does. But I don't know. This is the guy who I just made my video about, STC. The guy that I was talking to, I believe that was his name, right? Press now or press on? I can't remember.
Let me try
Honestly.
press on.
Somebody saying press on. Big Mike is saying pressed on.
I'm checking right now. Let's
Shit,
see.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't fucking remember. My memory sucks. Press in, press in, press up, press down, press all around, press penis. I don't know, man. I just can't. My memory sucks. I'm gonna tell you, my short term memory is bad. Is very bad.
Press on.
Press harder. Really, it was.
Press harder. Okay.
Okay. So press on is the people. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, I'm just not real familiar with him. That's all. I have seen him every once and again, but I'm not. I really don't know.
Oh, okay. Somehow accepted him. I don't know
Well, thank
how.
you, Keebler, for clearing that up because I didn't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the guy with the beard, isn't it?
Yeah. That's
Yeah, I found him. I accepted him. Huh.
yeah. So
Interesting.
yeah, it's a strange. It was a very strange conversation, you know. It was a very strange conversation. I just never encountered anybody with those beliefs. That's all. I mean, it may be not strange to other people, but it was strange to me. You know, I mean, everybody has their own.
Thanks, Big Mike.
Everybody has their own threshold of what they believe to be strange, and I thought that he was a rather strange dude. You know,
Look
I'm
at
not saying that. I'm not saying that he's not a good guy. I'm just saying that he was
yeah.
strange
Look at
as far
STC.
as
He's weird and crazy. I still like him. You know.
yeah. Oh, SCC is off his damn rocker.
Yeah, and look at Lotus. He's crazy and cuckoo. I still like him. Both of them.
Yeah.
I like them. You
Well,
know.
listen, Gregory. I don't believe anybody is 100% normal. I
I'm
really
normal.
don't. I don't believe anybody is
I'm normal.
100%.
Yeah, what?
You are?
Me normal? Yeah, what?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm way beyond normal.
I don't believe anybody is 100% normal. What is normal? How about that question? What is normal? Because it varies from person to person.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
He lives on the streets. Okay, all right. I didn't know that either. Like I said, I didn't know much about him. I just know that he lives. He leaves a comment or two in my videos every so often,
That's why I
and
like
I never
Keebler.
really looked into him that much. You know,
That's why I like
so
Keebler on Sugar Code. And that's why, because she knows YouTube pretty good.
yeah, you know, I'm not. I don't really like. I find videos from different auditors and whatnot, but I really don't like look into everybody that I see. You know, on YouTube. I just don't. I don't have the time for one.
Exactly. Yep. That's
But
100%.
I mean, just because
Keebler.
he talks to me in a certain way or whatever, I don't know about everybody. You know, just like anybody else. Not everybody knows everybody else. You know, I just know people that I'm familiar with is all. And
Look, guys, let me tell you a story. At first, I subbed to Tats for a month, and I didn't understand what his name is. And I told one of the mods, "Is Tats a troll?" No, no, he hates the troll. Oh, okay.
I
So
don't
I was
like my. I still
no,
don't
because I
like the
was
fact that
afraid to tell you that It was
Right.
almost a month. I didn't tell you.
Right.
When I told one of the mods, I know the one on the mods. I forgot who was it, and no, he's not a troll. He hates the trolls. Okay.
Well, here's the thing, Keebler. I think that people do good things for homeless people. I think I think you can have some weird beliefs that you most people consider weird and still be a good person. I don't have a problem with him as a person. I just think that he has some odd, at least in my eyes, some odd belief system. But if he does good things for people, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's fine. Good comes in a lot of different ways and a lot of
Hmm.
forms of people. I mean, good can even come out of people that have done a lot of bad things.
Sure.
So, if you do a good deed for somebody, I think that should be commended and recognized. There's a lot of people that do a lot of good in this world that aren't exactly the mainstream of what people would think to be a normal person. There's a lot of people who do a lot of good in this world that deserve more credit than they ever get. But I just can go by what my interaction with him today. He was a little strange to me. He had some pretty convoluted arguments about things, but in my eyes, that was my opinion. But I'm not saying that he's a bad person. Um, I just, you know, I don't know much about him. That's all. Yeah, and I like that. I like that idea about that Keebler. That's why I like oh, what's her face? DMA's Sweet Tea. I think that's her name, right? Sweet Tea. Regan Benson, that's her name. Regan Benson. I like her for that reason. She goes out there on the streets and helps people. She's a little moody sometimes. She gets a little hot-headed sometimes, but she does a lot of good work too. You
Who?
know, Regan Benson.
Oh yeah, I like you.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like you
she
very
does.
much.
And I think a lot of
She
her,
take you home. It's very serious.
right, right, and I think that a lot of her person. We've talked on online before. We talked online, Regan and I, because I actually did a video about her one time, and I came onto her channel one day, and she thought that because of my name she blocked me automatically, and then I put out the message amongst the people and I said, hey, if you know Regan Benson, just let her know that I'm not who she thinks I am. um but no, I'm just saying based on what I've seen on some of her videos. Like I said, I'm not an expert on every single channel that is on YouTube. I just react to what I see. You know what I mean? I could do more research, and that could be a thing. I could actually look into her, but she's really not heavy on my radar right now. Um, I'm kind of just coming down off of the Wrangler thing. I'm kind of since
Good.
frauditor troll did his thing, which is kind of what I wanted in the first place, a bigger channel with a lot more reach than I have to talk about it is really what I wanted, and that's happened. And
Thanks
people
for your side.
now have to make their own decisions on who they want to support and who can't. I can't reach everybody. I would love to reach everybody, and maybe about once a month or maybe once a week I'll put out another video just to remind people that he does lie about his military service. But other
That's
than
not a
that,
good idea, Tats. The more you bring your video, the more they step to him. That's
well,
how I look at it.
well, that very well could be true, but I also want them to go into that subscription knowing what he did. So
Well,
that
everybody knows
after
already what he did.
if they know already and they do it anyway, well, that to me speaks volumes of who they actually are as
Yeah, but
people.
people doesn't want to listen.
Well,
That,
I know that, I
that's
know.
my opinion.
I mean, for God's sakes, I talked to this one girl. What's her name? Glam Girl. She does not care. She just does not care. She doesn't care that he lied about being wounded in combat and all that stuff. She just does not. She said, "Well, Wrangler's funny, and that's why I subscribed to him. So that's it." So whatever, I can't change her mind. What am I going to do? Nothing. I can just tell what I know, and I've kicked the damn horse a billion times already. I don't know what else I can do. Um,
Look at STC
I'm going
live.
to I'm gonna still stay on top of them, STC. I'm still gonna do it, but I'm not gonna dedicate every single video to them right now because I think that people know a lot of people know, but I'm still going to do it like maybe once a week or something like that
Yes, let her go, bro. Let her go.
because no, I can't let it go, Greg, because I'll tell you why I can't let it go. Because I can't let go the people that I know that sacrificed everything for this country. I have friends of mine,
I know that, I know.
I have
But I'm
dear
thinking about
friends
your
of
health too.
mine
You know?
that did the things that he claimed, and got hurt doing it, and he has no right to claim what they did for himself in order to get uh, subscribers and money from his super chats. He doesn't have any right to that. And those people that I know that have died in combat and things, um, it it, it it's just it's sad to me. I just want to reach as many people as I can. What is the basic message I'm trying to get across, Nancy? Is that the basic message that I'm trying to get across is that you have a guy who claimed to be a soldier in the military and he did 13 years according to what he said, right? And he claimed that he was wounded in combat, and received 2 Purple Hearts. And based on that information, there are people out there, and I know plenty of people like that, that if you are a veteran, even if you're just a veteran that never did any combat or anything, there are people out there who love veterans and love supporting them. But if you mention that you're a combat wounded veteran, that's a different level of support a lot of those guys get, which is deservingly so. They get a lot of good support, and they should. But people like Wrangler who make false claims take away from that, because then when you discover that he's a liar, it makes you less likely to actually support actual veterans who did the real thing. And now everybody's calling everybody a liar because of people like Wrangler. And that's not right. I think that if you use the pain and suffering of other people, those wounds and injuries that people receive on a battlefield are some of the most horrific things you've ever seen. And they suffer for the rest of their life, not only physically but mentally. And for Kaiser to gain the admiration and respect of his supporters and then gain financially from that, I think is reprehensible and should never happen. And so no, I know Don Shipley, One Stop Fab. I know his wife personally, actually. I have his phone. I have her phone number, Diane Shipley's phone number. I have her phone number because some years back, I can't remember exactly how many years ago it was, but Don Shipley was working on a fake vet, and this was before I ever got involved in having a YouTube channel or anything. Don Shipley was working on a fake veteran charity, and I was a big fan of Don Shipley's, and I was a member of his. Website, and still am actually. And uh, he was mentioning that he would like somebody to go in and pose as a veteran and see what they say to him, to prove that they were doing these fictitious things. And basically, what the charity was is this charity would pay for veterans to go out on vacations and things like that with their families. And that's what the charity was supposed to be about. But instead, they were taking that money and just using it for their own purpose. And that's what they were doing. And what Don Shipley did was actually, because of his work, he actually
Mm.
turned that charity into a real veterans charity. So that's what he did. You know. So I got to know Don a little bit. I'm not saying that I'm best friends with him or anything like that. I'm just saying that I'm an acquaintance. I've actually had to check on 2 people who claimed to be Navy SEALs that turned out not to be Navy SEALs. So that's another thing that I did with Don Shipley. I sent him in just like anybody else, the names and so on of the guys claiming to be Navy SEALs, and though both of them were not Navy SEAls. Navy SEALs are some of the most impersonated people on the planet. And that's not right, because Navy SEALs have some of the toughest, and it's not just because they're badasses, because they are, every single one of them. But the fact is when you send in a special unit like the Navy SEALs, it's not going to be a good situation, and those guys sacrifice a hell of a lot for what they do. Their training is
Mm.
ridiculously dangerous, but also the missions they participate in. If you just know anything about the Lone Survivor, the movie Lone Survivor, um, um, that story, if you know anything about Operation Red Wing, that was what that story was about. Um, that's the type of things Navy SEALs get involved in all the time. So, yeah, I admire Navy SEALs for what they do. Anything that anybody was involved in special forces, those guys get sent in the worst situations possible. And believe it or not, these guys love that shit. They love getting sent into those
That would
situations.
be a good. That would be a good story for Saturday.
Yeah, I'm just talking whatever you want to
Yeah.
talk about. Yeah.
Oh, guys, remember this Saturday I'm going to open. This Saturday I'm going to a special panel for the vets, the army, the SEALs, everyone who joined. They could go on a panel. I'm going to say some songs, veteran songs. It started at 7 a.m. East 7 a.m. my time. It might go
Yeah,
on maybe 4 o'clock or 12 o'clock noon. I'm not
and
sure.
and you know what, Keebler, I agree with that. I do. I think that panhandling veterans, that that get benefits otherwise, like maybe they're retired, or even they get disability benefits from the VA. I think that does hurt vets. I think it does. But then again, every situation's different and unique, and I can't make that call myself. But I do believe in general that is true. And also there are a lot of fake veteran panhandlers out there as well.
Oh, you
That
guys don't forget to check on Punch Night new hoodie hooters. Start at 80, 20, $40. It's cheap. It go please click on that and please buy one for me if you could.
Yeah, yeah, and STC is a great guy too. I like him. A lot of people, there's some people that don't like him. I'm not gonna say a lot of people don't like him, but he's a good
Who?
guy. And
SCC?
yeah, he's a good guy. He does good
Oh,
things,
good guy.
and I think
Eh,
he is. He's not afraid
he's
to
an
let
asshole
me
most of the
have.
time, but I
He's
love
not
him
a let.
still
He lets me have it with both barrels when he doesn't like what the fuck I do.
because you guys are
Um,
family. That's why.
but you know what? That's okay. That's fine with me. Because I think that it's okay. It's okay. You know, just like when you call me an asshole, Gregory. I am an
No,
asshole. I admit it.
I called you an STC asshole too. I split half and half now.
Yeah, yeah. We can talk, STC. We can talk. Um, but yeah. I just it's okay. It's fine.
But remember, I'm a good asshole.
But I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's a flaw that I have. And I've always been that way. Some people can say that's a weakness, that I have, and maybe it is, but I tend to lean on a different, the positive if I can, more than the negative if I can, as far as like my thought on somebody. Like I would rather believe a good thing about them than a bad thing about them. But some people, they make it that very difficult. They make that very difficult for me. And even people that try to say things bad about me, I'll still talk to you like a human being. I believe that you deserve that respect. Um, you know, uh, I don't harbor any ill will against anybody, you know, but I do harbor ill will against Kaiser. But I wish him well as a human being. I do. I hope that he does find peace eventually and he does come clean from all that. That's what I really want. I want him to be free of those lies and those things. I want him to move on and be a better person and do good things for people. I want him to do that, and he's capable of doing that. He's capable of doing that. But right now he's not, because he hasn't fully come clean about it. And I think until he does, he needs to do that one last thing. He came clean about his criminal past, but he hasn't come clean. He hasn't he hasn't come clean about the military lies, and that still weighs on me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
get your clothes, Keebler. You got you got some laundry going on, huh? Some laundry. When I was a kid, we had to go to the damn laundromat. We didn't even have a damn washer and dryer, and sometimes we had a washer but no dryer. We used the damn clothesline, hanging our clothes on the line.
This is what my mom does.
Yeah.
Mom, on the days. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've gone to school more than once with bird shit on my shirt. You know, um, I got pretty good at hanging up clothes though. As a kid, that was kind of my job. Hand wash dishes too, man. I did a lot of that shit. We didn't have dishwasher. I was the damn dishwasher growing up. My dad used to tell me that's why we had kids. You know.
Well, guys, I'm going to end this. I'm going to take a nice shower and eat.
Yeah, and everybody, it was a pleasure talking to you guys, and
Yep, thank you
and
for
a
coming up,
pleasure
chats.
pleasure talking to you, Greg, and
Yep, thank you,
pleasure
chats, for a good discussion. Two topics.
everybody. Yeah, everybody being respectful and nice. And
Mm-hmm.
I know some of you don't
Very
even
good
like me.
topics.
I know some of you that don't like me, but maybe our conversation today might have changed some of that for you, and I hope it did.
No one doesn't.
Because
No one like each other. No one. You know.
but I hope that I maybe changed your mind a little bit about me anyway.
Thank you, Kilby, for coming in. Nancy, um, Abe, everyone. Thank you. God bless you and be safe, guys.
Yep.
Love you guys.
All right, Greg. Have a good one, man.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Yep. Okay, STC. I'll try to be there.